Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. This is your host, Adam Graham, from more or less the present day. And we are bringing you in this YouTube video a week of archive programs from the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. Now, these were recorded several years ago, are being posted exactly as they were, except I am cutting the opening for all but the first episode to exclude the theme music and as much front matter as I can, and then also cutting down the end to remove some of that contact information. Now, any specific offers or deals offered on the podcast are not actually valid unless they are shown on our current website at greatdetectives.net. This video does contain chapters, so if you don't want to listen to all of the programs in the week, you can skip around to the ones that you want to listen to, just like the original listeners did. Now it's time for our archive programs. Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. I hope you had a great weekend as we get ready to get back into Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. Remember, on the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, every Monday is a holiday. This episode is no exception, as a very interesting case comes Dan Holliday's way, and he finds it in Box 13. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, Box 13, Box 13, Box 13.
Well, this is great. I come to the park to get a hot idea, but the day turns out hot, and my idea turns out cold. Idea. Well, I thought I'd find something different in a public park, and I did. A small boy mashing his ice cream cone against my brand new trousers. And all to meet a deadline. Deadline. Story idea. Why didn't I do what I should have done in the first place?
Copy, boy.
Hi, Mr. Holliday.
Hiya.
Hey, Smith, where's the lead on that fire?
Hiya, Mr. Holliday.
What do you say, Bill?
Down towards that interview. Hiya, Dan.
How are you, Joe?
Where's the makeup on page 4?
Hiya, Holliday.
What's a good word, boy?
Hiya, Mr. Holliday.
Hiya, Suzie. Anything in Box 13?
Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. Now for Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Go to the park and get a story idea about romance. Sure, why not? What do I come back with? Gravel in my socks, sand in my shoes, and a June bug in my hat band. Holliday, why didn't you pick a different profession like driving a coal truck?
Mr. Holliday.
What's that, Suzie?
I said there's a message in Box 13 for you.
Oh, thank you, Suzie. Thanks so much.
Don't mention it. Say, you got a faraway look in your eyes today.
Yes, but only as far as the dry cleaners.
Dry cleaners?
Have you ever had a small boy wipe his ice cream cone off on your trousers?
Oh, girls don't call them trousers. And I said it's flat.
So it is, Susie. So it is. Well, see you later.
Okay, if you say so. But I still don't like that look in your eyes. You look like you might get into trouble.
You know what I think after spending the day in the park?
What?
Trouble will be a welcome relief. Why did I ever have to decide to be a fiction writer? I could have stayed a newspaper reporter. I could have kept on writing those snappy obituary notices and worn a hat that turned up in front and shoes that did the same thing. Well, better see what's in this envelope. If you want real adventure, be at the corner of 7th and Main at 10 p.m. tonight. A black limousine will pick you up at that time. Do not try to engage the chauffeur in conversation. What's this? No signature. Oh, no signature. Black limousines, chauffeurs who won't talk. Meetings on street corners at 10 o'clock at night. Well, this should be interesting. Oh, there it is, a black limousine. And look at that chauffeur.
This way, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, thanks. What a character this driver is. He looks like he spent his nights on a nice cold slab down at the morgue. Wonder if I can get him to talk.
Driver. I said driver. Oh, chauffeur. Oh, you.
Oh, pardon me.
Through there, Mr. Holliday.
So you do talk. I was beginning to wonder about that.
This way, Mr. Holliday.
Who's that?
It's only me, Mr. Holliday.
That black suit, it makes you almost invisible, you know.
Yes, I know. Follow me. You're curious about the way you were brought here. Did it frighten you?
Maybe. Maybe not.
This room, please. My office.
Well, this is very cozy.
Well, I'm glad you find it so. To eliminate a lot of questions, I'd like to say this. I know all about you.
All?
You're a successful writer. Apparently you fear nothing, and I would presume that some of your adventures spring from that ad you run every week in the Star-Times.
Did you find it interesting?
Adventure wanted. We'll go any place, do anything. Do you catch many people with that ad?
I caught you. Or is that vice versa?
I had you investigated, Holliday. I know where you live, what you do. The newspapers have told me of your experiences.
What are you leading up to?
You'll notice I had you brought here by a devious route. I wanted to be sure no one knew you were here.
Go on.
How much do you know about insurance, Holliday?
A great many people buy it. A great many don't.
And of those who do buy, a great many intend to defraud, to steal from their insurance company.
Now, look, if this is a racket, I'm not interested.
My name is Abner Blake. I'm the chief investigator for Northern Insurance.
Oh.
Do you remember the disappearance of Dr. Max Alexander?
I read something about it. Why?
He carried a very large policy with us. He's been gone almost 7 years. When his 7 years are up, the law will permit his widow to collect. And Holliday.
Yes?
I don't think Alexander is dead.
This man has the coldest, frostiest eyes of any professional man-trailer I've ever seen. And he's loaded with energy. Energy which I'll bet has helped him track down the people who tried to cheat his insurance company. Boy, I'm glad I'm on his side.
If you'll think back, Dr. Alexander performed a very delicate brain surgery on a prominent man. The operation was not successful.
I remember that. He was criticized in some circles for taking a chance.
Immediately after the patient died, Alexander walked out of the operating room, the hospital, and so far as we've been able to prove, right out of this world. But I still feel that he's alive, somewhere.
And you believe it's an insurance fraud?
I'm sure it is. And I have a reputation, Holliday. No one has ever attempted to defraud Northern Insurance and has been successful.
You, suspect Mrs. Alexander?
Hardly. She's barely left her house in all these years. She receives no mail except from her daughter.
Her daughter?
She lives in New Mexico.
What about your regular men?
They've looked everywhere. They've come up with absolutely nothing.
Police?
Same thing.
And you're afraid you'll have to pay off?
No. Not if I have a smart man, a resourceful one, a man who can be as relentless as I am. And I think that man is you.
If Shakespeare were alive, he would cast Abner Blake in the role of Macbeth and throw him an extra part as one of the witches. But that's no affair of yours, Mr. Holliday. You've got to find a man who's been gone for almost 7 years. And if you were the hero of this story, you'd go to the files of a newspaper and look into the past.
Well, if it isn't Dan Holliday, what are you doing down the morgue of the Star-Times?
What would anybody be doing down in the morgue, Mac?
Well, some of them just lay there. You know me, Dad. I just got to have my little joke once in a while. Now, what was it you're looking for?
Oh, the clips on a citizen named Dr. Max Alexander. What have you got on him?
The works, Dan. The whole works.
Prominent man dies following delicate operation. Doctor criticized for taking chance. Dr. Alexander walks out of operating room and disappears. Grief-stricken wife employs private investigators when police fail to find Dr. Alexander. Dr. Alexander given up for dead. Not a bad-looking citizen, the doctor. He's been shot from more angles than this Philadelphia at Atlantic City. Kindly eyes, intelligent face, strong chin. Yes, Doctor, when I see you, I'll know you. And I hope to see you soon.
Yes?
Oh, I'm Dan Holliday, Miss Alexander. I'd like to talk to you about your husband.
My husband is dead.
Well, some people think he isn't.
They found something? They think he's alive? Come in. Now then, Mr. Holliday, who are you? And why are you looking for the doctor?
A commission from the insurance company. I hoped you might give me some information.
It was on all the front pages.
That's exactly as it happened?
Yes. He was never seen again. Oh, Mr. Holliday, if only you could find some trace of him.
I'm going to try.
You don't know how terrible it is. Almost 7 years. But still, I've had the feeling that he'll come back someday. You'll look for me, too.
Well, of course.
I miss him so.
What about your daughter?
After her father's disappearance, she couldn't stand it here in town. She went to our ranch in New Mexico.
Oh?
Her father's disappearance broke her heart. I pray you find him.
Mrs. Alexander, so do I. Mrs. Alexander is a grief-stricken old lady. One who sincerely wants her husband back. So, where to look first? This is the build-up to the main story, Holliday, and if you're smart, you'll bring in all the characters.
Where to, mister?
I want a drawing room to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Well, Holliday, you've got a railroad ticket and an hour to make the train. Better get back to your apartment, a quick shower, pack your bag, and get on your way.
We've been waiting for you, Mr. Holliday.
Well, gentlemen, is this a pleasant intrusion? And I hope you are gentlemen.
We were positive you wouldn't mind.
Oh, of course not. People break in here regularly.
Good. Sit down.
If you don't mind, I like the air up here.
As you wish. I understand you like to travel, Mr. Holliday.
Travel? A wonderful pastime, travel.
Ever think of South America?
Often. You see, I'm a Carmen Miranda fan.
How would you like to go to South America? For me. All expenses paid. For as long as you want to stay.
What would I have to do?
Just forget a few things.
Like New Mexico?
Particularly New Mexico.
Give me about 2 weeks and I'm your man.
You don't seem to understand. You're leaving. Tonight.
Well, that's what I mean. But I'm going west.
No. South.
You and I would make a nice compass together. Now, suppose you point north and walk right out of this apartment. Oh, and don't forget your gorilla.
You mean Spencer?
If that's his name, I mean Spencer.
You'll hurt his feelings talking that way.
Well, that makes us even. Just looking at him hurts mine.
Is it, South America?
In a way. At least I'm showing you the open-door policy. Now, get out, you and your gorilla.
Spencer.
I wouldn't recommend that.
So?
I said get out.
Have you ever stopped to consider something, Mr. Holliday?
What?
You may never get to New Mexico.
You are listening to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. And now, back to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Now you've got all the ingredients for a story. Insurance investigator doesn't believe doctor is dead. Wife doesn't believe doctor is dead. Two men try to stop Ryder from making further investigation. All right, Holliday. Write the rest of the plot. Or maybe you'd better hit the sack. This is very pleasant. I've got a comfortable drawing room, and I'll bet it's got 1,000 springs to ease my worries. Uh-oh. The man with the urge to send me to South America. Well, I've got something for him. Go. Now, fellow, what's the big idea breaking in here?
I'm sorry. I must have come into the wrong drawing room.
You came into the wrong apartment a couple of hours ago. Now, what do you want?
I just want to go to sleep.
In my traveling bag?
I was looking for my razor. I wanted to shave.
You just had a close one. Come on.
Well?
To find out if you got space in this train. If you haven't, we'll make some for you. Under guard in the baggage car. This is fine. I couldn't prove a thing. My friend had space, and to the conductor, it seemed like a perfectly logical thing to mistake car 19 for car 18. I wonder who this man is and who's in back of him.
Next stop, Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. Well, that's the end of the line for me. And I hope I don't mean that too literally. Long distance? I want to speak to Catherine Alexander at the Bar Cross Bar Ranch just outside of Valmont. Yes.
Hello?
Miss Alexander?
Yes?
This is Dan Holliday. Wonder if I might come out to the ranch and see you.
Oh, you're the man who's looking for Father. Mother wired me about you.
Was it complimentary?
Mother said she believed if anyone could find Dad, you could. Come right out. I want to talk to you.
And I want to talk to you.
Cab, mister?
Yeah, ever hear of Valmont?
Sure did.
Know where it is?
Sure do.
Very far?
Sure is.
Can you take me there?
Sure can. You got enough money to pay for the trip?
Sure have.
Let's go, then.
Sure thing. This is New Mexico, Holiday. Breathe deeply and treat your lungs to a shot of straight ozone. 20 miles to Valmont, and all you've seen on the whole trip is 4 buzzards, 3 in the air, and the 1 driving. And if he's a cab driver, I'm a flying disc.
Car behind.
Yeah, so I hear.
Wants me to pull over.
Don't do it.
Know them fellas?
One of them is Spencer.
Friend of yours?
That depends on what you mean by friend.
How I gotta pull up. Those guys are gonna run me into the ditch.
Can you fight?
Nope.
Then can you recommend a good dentist?
What for?
Something tells me that when this is over, I'm going to need a new set of teeth.
You feel better, young man?
Yeah, thanks. What happened after those two fellows jumped me? Who are you?
My name is Moran. I'm the caretaker up at the Bar Crossbar Ranch. I was coming down this way when you were forced off the road.
Oh. What happened to the driver?
Last I saw of him, he was just a cloud of dust.
I remember now. I got out of the car. He drove away.
Those two fellows started to beat you up good. When they saw me coming, they ran off, too. You had a mighty close call, young man.
I had 3 of them. After this, my luck runs out.
Somebody after you?
And vice versa. Say, how far is the ranch?
Half a mile up the road. Better take it easy.
Come on, I've got to get to the ranch.
Feel you can make it?
My friend, I've got to make it. This is not good. Spencer and his gorilla followed me all the way out here, trying to stop me at every turn. Maybe I'm getting warm. But if that's true, why hasn't someone else found Dr. Alexander?
Here's the ranch house, Mr. Holliday. You say Miss Catherine was expecting you?
Yes, but hardly in this condition.
You're Dan Holliday? Oh, what happened? You're all beaten up.
So this is Catherine Alexander. What a beautiful girl. And what beautiful eyes.
You'd better lie down, Mr. Holliday. You're badly hurt.
Oh, no, thanks, Miss Alexander. I don't feel that bad. I just look that way.
Anything more I could do, Miss Kathy?
Oh, no. No, and thank you so much. If you hadn't come along, Mr. Holliday might have been badly injured. Perhaps fatally.
Thank you, Miss Kathy.
Now then, how about a hot shower? You can get a rub down and change of clothes.
Miss Alexander, you read a man's mind.
Sometimes that's a pleasure. Depending on the man.
You're depending on me?
What do you think?
Well, this is more like it. Hot shower, brisk rub down, little iodine on a few... Ouch, it stings. And Catherine was kind enough to loan me some riding clothes. That should indicate a sojourn in the saddle out on the desert, with the stars blinking their approval of my companion. Blinking approval? Holliday, you're an incurable romantic.
Isn't this beautiful? That gorgeous sky and the stars.
You love it, don't you?
I always have. Always will.
Have you been here long?
The Bar Crossbar belonged to my dad. We used to come out during the summer. Now I live here all the time.
Alone?
Oh, there's always Moran.
Moran? He's a strange old fellow.
People around here say he's a little touched. But he's been wonderful to me.
Oh, say, those men who jumped me down the road. Moran ever seen them before?
How could he? They were strangers.
Oh. Your mother told me you've been searching for your father a long time.
Yes. Mother and I have spent a fortune on private detectives, investigators, following up leads, but nothing ever happened.
Yes, I know. Oh, tell me, Miss Alexander.
Kathy, please.
Kathy, have you any idea where I might begin to look? I thought you might give me a starting point.
Not unless he would be back in the city. He just walked out one day. No one ever saw him again.
Well, I'd better go back there and start from scratch.
You don't have to leave. Right away.
I'd enjoy staying a while.
Maybe I have been lonesome. Perhaps I've forgotten what companionship can be.
Perhaps.
You'll stay a while?
A while.
Good. Say, the time. We'll be much too late for dinner. Come on, I'll race you.
You're on.
Hurry or I'll beat you. I'm at the corral gate already.
Kathy, look out! Kathy.
Mr. Holliday, what happened?
You were racing. The horse stumbled over that lower bar and threw her. Look at that gash in her head.
She's unconscious. I hope she isn't seriously hurt.
Don't stand there, man. Get in the house. Call a doctor.
Yes, a doctor. Doctor.
Hurry, will you?
Of course. Get into the medicine cabinet in the house. I need some bandages. She may be suffering from multiple contusions.
Multiple contusions?
Or even a compound skull fracture. Hurry, will you?
Compound skull fracture?
I don't know if you can find it. Hurry, I said. There isn't much time.
Okay. Dr. Alexander.
You are listening to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well, now I'm back in the city again, walking up the street towards that same grim gray house where I first met Abner Blake. Up the steps, Holliday, and write the final chapter.
That was a nice job, Holliday.
I was nice about it.
What do you mean?
You didn't see the look in Dr. Alexander's eyes when he recovered his mind. And that lovely, lovely girl being mixed up in a deal like this.
If you feel sorry for her, you're making a big mistake.
Yes, I know. She was following him the day he walked out into the country. She'd almost caught up with him when a hit-and-run driver knocked him down.
That's when she got the idea for the disappearance act.
Why not? The doctor's face had been so damaged no one would ever recognize him. And he'd lost his memory to top it off.
We've got the daughter and the mother in custody.
Just think, if she hadn't have fallen off that horse, I might never have been able to prove that Dr. Alexander was alive.
I know.
Hiding him on his own ranch was the daughter's idea, too.
Why not? No one would pay attention to an old man puttering around the place.
I've got a story, and I don't like it. Mother and daughter hide amnesia victim to collect insurance.
Oh, excuse me. Blake speaking. Yes, he's here. For you, Holliday.
Oh, thanks. Hello.
Mr. Holliday, this is Suzie.
Oh, yes, Suzie.
There's a message for you in box 13. Shall I read it to you?
Now, Suzie, you know you're not supposed to open my mail.
But this is already open. It's a postcard.
Oh. Is it interesting?
I think it is.
All right, come on. Tell me what it says.
It says, rental for box 13, $15.
Oh, fine. Goodbye, Suzie.
Next week, same time, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Alan Ladd appears through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in Wild Harvest. Box 13 is written and directed by Ted Hediger. Original music was composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. This is a Mayfair production.
Welcome back. Well, I guess the insurance examiner knew a good deal when he found one. Private investigator will work for free. And as it happened, he was able to uncover what had gone on with a lot of, I think they worked in a lot of exciting twists and turns in here. You have to appreciate that despite, what the mother and daughter did to try and throw him off the trail, in ways that were somewhat alarming, he still did not feel happy about the results of the case. So you really get a sense here. Some of the detectives you may not always like, but with Dan Holliday, you got a sense that this guy really is doing the best he can, which really does help. This episode, I gotta tell you, this is something I really have debated with myself, which episode we're going to show you this week. because I tend to be a meticulous person in terms of, particularly when it comes to going through a series from start to finish. And the fact is that there are some episodes I've decided I won't end up showing. These are the Ben Morris episodes of Pat Novak for Hire. What actually happened on the show, and there's somewhat chronology can get confused here. There was actually 2 separate stints where Jack Webb played Pat Novak. In 1946, he started out on the show with Richard Breen, the writer. Well, Breen got into some type of quarrel with the people at KFO radio station there in San Francisco. And so, Breen left, and then Jack Webb left. Now, they made an assumption at KFO in San Francisco that they could go ahead and that they could just go replace Webb, replace Breen, and continue the series along its merry way. And so they hired Ben Morris. And there are 4 surviving episodes of the Ben Morris series as Pat Novak for Hire. And I'm not a huge fan of them. But I debated with myself, should I go ahead and play it so that way I can say I've played all the Pat Novaks? Or should I not play them because I just don't like them? And so back and forth. It wasn't until I actually was reading Michael Hayde's book that I went ahead and made the decision not to, because what Hayde recounts is that basically there were letters and there were demands and there were calls from the public, bring Jack Webb back. And if you've listened to any of the Morris episodes, you'll understand why. There are 2 problems with the stories. With Morris, first of all, he doesn't quite have that right quality of voice that Jack Webb brought to the series. So, that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is they didn't have Richard Breen writing. And as much as, some people, you take a look at the lines here, and some people say, this is so over the top. But to do this with any degree of skill, you got to have something up there that the writers that they had replacing Breen simply did not have. So it led to people getting kind of angry and ticked off. And do I want to do that early in my show? No. The Great Detective. So we're going to go ahead with the actual Jack Webb series from 1949. And I'll listen to feedback if if there's a real strong demand for Ben Morris, then we might reconsider playing those at some later date. But this is the 1949 series, where ABC actually went ahead, took control of this from KFO, and brought Jack Webb back. And this is actually the 2nd episode where Webb is back, the first that we have in existence. It is called The Jack of Clubs. This episode is notable for a few reasons. First of all, it's notable for who joins the cast. Heretofore, in both the original series and in the Ben Morris installments, we had what I'd like to call rent-a-Hellmans. Just kind of mediocre actors playing through. Here we get Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr, who would later go into Dragnet and would be the first boss of Joe Friday and his partner Ben Romero, playing Ed Backstrand, the chief of detectives. And then he would also come back on TV Dragnet and play Thad Brown, chief of detectives. And then on television, he was famous for Perry Mason, but also for Ironside. So you see a great acting career in its earliest stages here, as we get a look at Raymond Burr as Inspector Hellman. So, exciting episode ahead. I hope you like it, and I hope we made the right decision. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode, The Jack of Clubs.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my shop says. Pat Novak, for hire. Down here on the San Francisco waterfront, it's got to be that way. You got to rob a few graves if you want cigarette money. You need lots of work and roomy sleeves if you're going to play a pat hand. Sometimes, in a good week, you can duck trouble 3 or 4 days in a row. And then it creeps up on you like an old charge account. Well, I should have known that when I went to the bank. I was up to my knees in mud and didn't even know it was rainy season. It was Tuesday. I went by the bank to drop $100. It was about time, because they were beginning to play handball with my checks. Must have been about 11 o'clock when I got to the window.
Hello, Mr. Novak. Isn't it a grand morning?
If it's your choice, stay with it.
Ah, yes.
Deposit $100.
Yes. Let me get your card. It's right here, I think. Yes. Here we are.
All right. $100. Give me a duplicate, will you?
Certainly. My, this isn't as big as the last deposit.
Look, Bloomer girl, just mark the slip, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Novak. I guess I'm not used to $1,000 deposits.
What $1,000?
Your Friday deposit.
I wasn't in here Friday.
Oh, you must have been. The card says you put in $1,000 on Friday.
Give me that card. What did Santa look like?
What?
Who put the dough in? What'd the guy look like?
Oh, didn't you?
No. Look, we'll double back and try to hang on this time, will you? I wasn't in here Friday. I don't know anything about an extra grand. Now, what did the guy look like?
I wasn't on duty Friday.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure about the fellow today.
What fellow?
There was a man in here to ask about the account.
Did this good fairy have a name?
No, just credentials. He was from the FBI.
I see.
Is there anything wrong, Mr. Novak?
No, don't mind that complexion. I forgot my foundation cream. Oh, I should have known right then. A mysterious grand tossed into the till, and I didn't wake up to trouble. But I'm a smart boy who'd be the village idiot in a town the size of New York. Well, I left the bank and went up to my apartment. That $1,000 was already drawing interest. When I came in, she was sitting on the couch drinking my whiskey. She could have all she wanted. A 1949 Panther model. Just the right amount of size 12 in a dress that looked like a well-tailored fig leaf. When she was through looking you over, you felt like the Sunday supplement.
Hello, Mr. Novak. I like your apartment.
That's good.
The view is wonderful.
So's yours. What's on your mind?
How about a drink?
All right. I'll pour. You talk.
My name is Connie Riley. Make me one, too?
Sure. As you were saying?
My name is Connie Riley.
Yeah, well, I've memorized that much. Go on. Oh, here's your drink.
Thanks. Now sit down.
All right.
Over next to me. I won't bite.
That's too bad. Go on.
Well, here's to your new bank account, Patsy.
Look, sis, if you're here just for the field trials, all right, but if you got a bill of goods, trot it out.
I will. I want that card, too, Patsy. I want it ahead of Chris.
I'll catch up with another drink. In the meantime, you fill in and help me, will you?
Stop sitting on your hands, Angel. You didn't get that $1,000 for the sweat of your brow.
No, not yet.
Somebody padded your account so you'd be a nice boy. I want you to be a nice boy for me.
At the same rates?
The Monterey Rose docks today. A passenger named Kirk Toomey is carrying a jack of clubs, and it means a lot to me.
Well, it doesn't mean a thing to me, except the FBI is on my tail.
Mr. Novak, you're turning a momentary advantage into a crowbar.
You take your deal to some other broker.
You're in business whether you like it or not, Patsy. You're going to stub your toe either way, only... For me, it'll be more fun.
How about the FBI?
You're being frightened by a group of bureaucrats.
Yeah, that's what Trotsky thought.
How much, Patsy?
Hmm?
How much for that card when you get it?
The price is $1,000.
You're an amusing guy, Patsy.
Yeah, $1,000 I can afford to be.
You don't even know what the Jack of Clubs is all about. You never heard of Kirk Toomey till 5 minutes ago, but you take things in stride as if the whole world belonged to you.
Yeah?
You're like Adam when he first spotted the Garden of Eden.
All right, Little Eve, it's $1,000. Remember, you're sitting on my doorstep. Now either go on home or come in the house.
Good. I'll take the card. That's your price. Now I can relax.
I'll bet you can.
Pour me another drink, Patsy.
Yeah, sure, in a minute.
What comes next? Can I get 3 guesses?
If you got time to take them.
I won't need them all.
Well, it's up to you. Come here, Angel. You ever hear of the early bird?
Yeah. Do I make a nice worm?
You wriggle like one.
Aren't you raising the price a little, Mr. Novak?
Straight 18%, darling.
That's too bad. I wasn't even going to scream.
The next place I live is going to be a cave. Just a minute, will you?
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
Well. Am I interrupting anything?
No, we were just going over an old seed catalog. Miss Riley, this is Inspector Hellman, San Francisco Police.
Good morning, Inspector. Don't bother to arrest me now. I'm just leaving.
So soon?
My sentiments exactly, Inspector. Bye-bye, Patsy. You can get me at the Concord on Push Street. See you around, Patsy.
Sure.
Well, you're slipping, Novak. No rain check.
All right, funny man. What's your problem?
You ever see this guy before?
Let me see. He's an awful-looking thug.
Yeah.
Who is he, your father?
A guy by the name of Max Coleman. The FBI trailed him to your bank Friday. They think he gave you $1,000.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the $1,000, Novak?
What do you care, Hellman? Maybe a relative, maybe a maiden aunt.
Nobody's related to you, Novak. You're in a jam lover, and I'm here to push your father in. Max Coleman buys his groceries with foreign dough.
So what are you weeping about? Arrest the guy if you don't like him.
There's government microfilm coming in on the Monterey Rose. That $1,000 makes you a contact man for Coleman.
Send the FBI over then. Where do you fit in? Waiting for somebody to drop some loose change?
You're my project, Novak. When they asked us for help, I stuffed the ballot box to get you.
Yeah.
So relax. I'm going to spend the rest of the day here. You're not going to leave the living room.
If I got to spend the day with you, I'll take knockout drops.
Suit yourself. What's this stuff?
That's good scotch. You wouldn't know.
Oh.
The cheap liquor's out in the kitchen closet. That's for you.
All right. Over by the stove here?
That's right.
What do you keep in here, Novak?
Mops and brooms.
Where'd you buy this one?
What are you talking about?
Where'd you buy this one, smart man?
Hellman was right. I could tell right away it wasn't a mop. When Hellman pushed him out, he rolled out onto the linoleum. A dapper little guy, except for a piece of cord around his throat, tied in a funny knot. He was deader than a broken drum. Somebody'd pulled too hard on that piece of cord. The veins were standing out in his forehead, and his face looked like a road map lying there on the floor. He wasn't pretty. Hellman thought so, too.
Who is he, Novak? Your father?
I've never seen him in my closet before.
Who is he, Novak?
I don't know, Hellman. Finders keepers, you roll him.
Give me a hand. There's nothing there. Where's his wallet?
You'll get there by instinct.
Yeah, here it is. His name is Kirk Toomey.
That helps.
Who is he?
The guy on the Monterey Rose?
The one with the microfilm?
I guess so.
I thought you didn't know anything about it. How'd you know he came from the Monterey Rose?
My dream book, Hellman. What happens now?
Nothing. Except I'm on the case now, and you got trouble in a major key.
You don't think I killed this guy?
I don't know, did you?
You better hop out and tail that girl. She was making herself at home when I got here.
Yeah? How do I know you're not in it together?
You don't, copper. Maybe she's Loeb and I'm Leopold. When you're through with her, you might hit the Monterey and start looking for a jack of clubs.
Some more dream book, Novak?
Everybody's looking for a jack of clubs, Hellman. It must be the end of the rainbow. That's where you're going to find that microfilm.
In the meantime, you stay handy, Novak. I want to split you with the FBI.
You don't think I'm going to take the rap for Junior here, do you?
It says that in my book. Just relax until I'm ready to pick you up. I only have to find a couple of things.
Well, that'll be a long time, Hellman. You can't find your hip pocket with radar.
Yeah. I'll be around soon, Novak. Don't bother to pack your bags. You'll be traveling light.
Well, when Hellman left, I knew I was a second division club. That phony plant in the bank, the tie-up with Max Coleman, and that stiff in the kitchen made me look real bad. I had to do something in a hurry because the way things stood, I had about as much chance as a lawn party in a monsoon. There were a lot of bases to tag, so I looked up Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor who invented the hangover, but a good guy. I finally found him over in North Beach at a little joint called Lupo's. He was eating pizza with one hand and strangling a bottle of wine with the other.
Hello, Patsy. Oh, Frank. A bottle of wine for Mr. Novak.
No, I'm short on time, Jocko.
That's where you're wrong, Patsy. People always say it, but it's a lie.
Will you calm down a minute?
You say you're short on time, but you have all the time there is. It's the one thing that keeps you from being a beggar.
Yeah.
There are only 24 hours in a day, and that gives you as much time as Napoleon or Alexander had.
Will you shut up a minute and put on that wine?
I'm celebrating, Patsy. I'm celebrating Mission Day.
Mission Day's over.
I'm a native son. We celebrate longer.
Now, look, I'm behind the 8 ball again.
Isn't it getting kind of crowded back there? What's the matter?
Somebody strangled the guy and put him in my broom closet.
When did you find him?
I didn't. Hellman did. There's a girl named Connie Riley. Looks good for the job.
Why doesn't Hellman book her then?
He's still picking up the pieces. The dead guy is Kurt Toomey. He was set to smuggle in some microfilm. It says here I'm contact. You gotta help me, Jocko.
You've got me confused with the travel agency.
I want you to hop down to headquarters. Get all the dope you can on this guy Toomey. I'm going to look up Connie Riley.
How did she get in the picture?
What difference does it make? She's a wrestler I met this morning. Now, get down to headquarters, will you?
That's why I like you, Patsy. You're like a piece of blank verse. A bad piece of blank verse.
All right, Jocko. I'm going to make like a strip of bacon if I don't get going. Now, stay close to headquarters. If anything looks good, contact me at Connie Riley's here at this address.
All right. How many times shall I knock, lover?
I left Jocko and dropped by the apartment. I was smart and full of courage, like a field mouse at bay. The police had already been there. There was fingerprint powder all over, and the 2 bottles of whiskey were gone. They'd moved Laughing Boy out of the kitchen, and so I sat down trying to add things up. I had a short list of friends to see. Connie, Max Coleman, and whoever this guy Chris was. I had to show up with one of them or prove that Kurt Toomey hung himself in my closet. I was getting ready to borrow a piece of cord myself when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Novak. This is Hellman.
I'm thrilled. What's on your mind?
I just called on your girlfriend.
What'd she say?
Nothing. She wasn't there. Hasn't been there since 10 o'clock this morning.
That's funny.
Yeah? You know where she is?
How would I know?
I just thought she might be in your closet. I picked up Toomey stuff on the Monterey Rose.
Yeah, what'd you find?
Well, the usual stuff. A few clothes, some shaving equipment, razor blades, toothpaste, and a pack of playing cards.
Pack of cards. Well, you know where to go from there, Hellman.
I thought I did.
Grab that jack of clubs.
Will a 10 of hearts do?
Huh?
That's right, Novak. A nice fat deck. But the jack of clubs is missing.
Oh, you're always too little too late, Hellman.
I just thought I'd let you know, friend, in case you start a bridge game with 53 cards in the deck. Good night.
Oh, I was losing money fast, like a street carnival in Death Valley. Well, one of two things happened. Somebody got on that boat and took the jack of clubs while Toomey was at my apartment. Or maybe he brought it with him. If he brought it with him, Connie was a possibility. Or somebody that got there ahead of Connie. Well, anyway, I had to work fast now because whoever had that card wasn't going to put it on a Market Street float. About 10 minutes later, I cut across Union Square and up Bush Street. When I got to Connie's apartment, it was about 10 o'clock. I got in the back door and started through. She wasn't there, so I went to work looking for that jack of clubs. It was real easy. I tried the desk and then her bureau drawer. You know, that black chiffon's coming back in style because that's where I found the card. It looked nice nestling there. I put it in my pocket, and that's as far as I got.
You run the lingerie counter here, Novak?
You sound like a guy named Chris.
If it makes you feel better.
Should we put on the light?
No. Let's don't put on the light. This gun might upset you.
The police are looking for you, Chris. You need more than the dark.
I understand they're looking for you, Novak. That Riley girl kind of put you on the spot. Tell you what I'll do, though.
Yeah, you'll give me $1,000 for the jack of clubs.
I started to say 500.
Around here, that's a whisper. And even grand, mister.
You're trying to collect too many places. Want the 500?
No, I don't.
All right. But I think you're a bum businessman.
Jocko found me catnapping on Connie's bare rug. Must have been right after the sapping. When I woke up, Jocko was thumbing my head like a housewife with a bowl of margarine. I felt around and waited for him to put the floor in again. I reached in my pocket. The jack of clubs was gone. Then I started to talk. Jocko.
Did you expect someone better?
Help me up, will you?
I've helped you get up so much I feel like one of the Wright brothers.
I just lost round 3.
Yeah, I saw him getting into the car.
Did you get a number?
Like Hellman has got yours. Here it is.
Let me see. Anything break down at homicide?
They got all the dope on Toomey. They had to piece it together. He had no fingerprint record, and they finally confirmed things with a set of false teeth.
What does it prove?
Nothing much, except you probably killed him. He was a foreign agent who picked up microfilm at Shanghai. Your girlfriend is pretty.
Did they find her?
Yeah.
Dead?
No, Patsy, you've got to stop thinking of people as being dead all the time. It's demoralizing.
What'd she say?
She denied knowing anything about Toomey.
Jocko, I'm sure she killed that guy up in my apartment. I'd stake my life on it.
Expertly put, Patsy. I think Hellman believes her. After all, she's the only lead.
What about Max Coleman, the guy that rigged my bank account? Are they letting him die on the vine?
I was getting to that. Your friend Max Coleman has disappeared.
I thought he was being tailed.
The kite got away. Here, use my aspirin.
Well, I took a boat out to the Monterey Rose, but that was a waste of time. Hellman had it covered like a tarpaulin. I still had the license number to Chris's car, but that didn't do any good. Even if I found him, all I could do was point my finger. There were still a lot of things that didn't fall into place. One of them was, how come that jack of clubs was so easy to find in Connie's apartment? She hadn't hid it very well. But after all, maybe that was a habit with her. Well, things didn't look any better the next morning. I went into a restaurant next to the press club for some breakfast. The Chronicle was lying on the counter. We were in second place because there was a torso murder all over page 1. That second cup of coffee saved me because right after that, I spotted it on one of the back pages, a picture and a small story about some unidentified guy who'd been killed over in Oakland. I couldn't match the picture too well with Hellman's snapshot of Max Coleman, but it looked like my best break so far. I got over to Oakland, and I went straight to the morgue. The guy in the morgue was chatty.
Which fellow you want to see?
The unidentified guy, he must have come in last night.
Sure. Down this way.
Okay.
How do you like our morgue?
One of my favorites.
It's bigger in San Francisco.
Yeah, I figured that.
Sure. Most people don't know that, but it's true. Bigger in San Francisco. Here we are. Right here. Help me slide it out.
Sure.
Roller bearings. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Here, let me get that sheet.
All right. Well.
Recognize him?
Yeah. What time did he die?
Coroner's report here on the toe tag. About 11 o'clock last night. 2 gunshots. 38 caliber pistol.
That's good.
Don't look good to me. Was he a friend of yours? Relative or something?
Yeah, a relative. He's my maiden aunt. It was Max Coleman, all right. But that was only half the problem. I had some of the answers, but not enough. It's like trying to weave a rug with a spinning wheel and a bucket of sand. Well, anyway, I got to a payphone and I called Jocko. I told him to run down that license number, and then I headed back across the bridge. When I found Jocko, he said the car was registered in the name of Christopher Downs, who lived up on Taylor Street. Well, that was enough of a lead, so I telephoned Hellman. Took about a half a minute to draw a map.
Hello? Hellman talking.
This is Novak. You still got Connie Riley down there?
No. I saved matchboxes. Why?
When did she leave?
Last night about 9:30.
Oh, that was smart, Hellman.
Why?
You better put a guard on her front door and get up to 720 Taylor Street, the apartment of Christopher Downs.
Who's he?
A late entry. Now climb out of that coma and get going. I'll meet you up there in 10 minutes.
720 Taylor Street?
Yeah, it's up on the hill.
That's good, Novak. I can roll you all the way down.
When Jocko and I got up to Downs' apartment, there was nobody home. I said a fast prayer for Connie, and I began going through Downs' stuff for a .38 caliber revolver. Jocko was looking, too, over in the liquor cabinet. That's as far as we got.
Scavenger hunt, Mr. Novak?
Hello, Chris. You haven't seen a .38 around?
Just one. That's in my pocket.
The same one that killed Max Coleman?
You're going to run out of breath, Novak. Slow down.
I'm in second already, mister. I can't stop.
Then you won't mind a short ride. Out the door and down the back stairs.
Should we bring the lap robe?
There's nothing to worry about. It's a short trip. You won't even have to wire the folks.
We went down the back way and into the garage next door. We started for a big car in the corner.
All right. Get in. Out the airport road, Joe.
Sure.
Now relax, Novak. From here, you look like a duck in the pond. All right, Joe.
Watch out, Joe. Joe! Watch out, there's another car coming in.
You're right, Chris. It was a short ride.
You all right, Novak?
Stop acting like the mother hen, Hellman. Take this guy's gun.
All right, mister, get out. Who is he?
Christopher Downs. He killed Max Coleman last night.
Does he convince you, mister?
Not entirely.
Well, that .38 will. The Oakland police have 2 slugs that fit that gun. You need more?
No. I'm afraid you've got all the trumps, Novak.
All right, let's go, you.
Let's see you earn it, copper.
Stop him, Novak!
He ain't going far. Well, Hellman, now you can arrest him for jaywalking.
Yeah.
It's too bad. He could have told you a lot about that stuff in my closet. Well, go pick him up, Hellman, and don't forget that jack of clubs in his pocket. Well, it worked out all right. I left Hellman, dropped by headquarters to leave a note, and I went home to my apartment. Connie was there. The whiskey was out again. Oh, she looked real good sitting there in a white crepe dress. It was one of those tight-fitting babies that make a bathing suit look like a toga. I told her all about Chris and Max Coleman, and we forgot about everything but the Olympics. When she put her arms around you, it was a real squeeze. It felt like an old tube of shaving cream. I was pouring a drink when the doorbell rang. Hello, Hellman.
You ready, Novak?
Sure. Well, don't stand there gaping. Arrest her for murder.
Wait a minute. Slow down, Patsy.
Sorry, chum. It's you or me.
Now, be a nice boy.
I am. That's why you go to Hellman.
Come on, lady.
You dig up an answer for that guy that you left in my closet?
I didn't leave any guy in your closet.
You'll have to say it louder, baby. They found the store you bought the cord.
That cord came out of your kitchen.
You're a big mouth, Connie.
Yeah. You can put that in boldface. How did you know?
You're the only one that could have taken that jack of clubs here in the apartment. That and one other thing.
Yeah?
That knot in the cord was a funny knot. You got an elastic garter there. It's too big, so you tied a knot in it. The same funny knot that choked Kirk Toomey.
You're a funny guy, Novak.
Yeah?
You're nice. But you're hard to handle. I should have killed you or married you. Ready, Hellman?
Well, that jack of clubs was a phony right from the start. Somebody told Kirk Toomey to deal with me. When he came to my apartment, Connie was waiting. She got jumpy and killed him. I got there too soon, so she had to stall me off. When she got home, she found out that the jack of clubs was a phony. She left it in plain sight, and Chris gobbled up the bait. When he discovered there was no microfilm, he went gunning for Max Coleman. Max was an innocent thief lying low, waiting to buy it from me. So, all three of them were after a phony card. I began to suspect it was phony because everybody hung around. If it was the McCoy, Connie would have cleared out. Same for Chris. The microfilm? Well, it was in Hellman's desk, but he didn't know it. Jocko finally tumbled. The report said that Kirk Toomey had false teeth. And when Hellman picked up his stuff on the ship, it was a tube of toothpaste. You don't clean false teeth with toothpaste. Word must have gotten around that the microfilm was inside that jack of clubs, so Kirk crossed them up and put it in the tube of toothpaste. Well, that's all except they canceled my $1,000 deposit. Hellman said it was lucky I noticed her garter. Lucky? Well, she had to straighten her seams, didn't she?
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the second of a new series, Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Radio and Television Life Award winner Basil Adlam. In our cast were Betty Lou Gerson, Victor Perrin, Ted DeCorsia, and Herb Butterfield. Today we're happy to welcome a new member of the ABC family, as station KARM in Fresno, California, joins our network. And now this is George Fenneman reminding you to be with us again next week, when over most of these same ABC stations, we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Welcome back. In this episode, we had our MacGuffin, the Jack of Clubs. Kind kind of a low-budget Maltese Falcon here. You have to say, the villain, for the second straight episode we've heard, the villain meets an untimely, accidental death, which is Richard Breen, I think, had this sense of irony, and some definite irony here in how they met their death. It'll be interesting to see how this develops into future episodes and how other villains meet their respective deaths. The other thing of note, in the last episode, I went ahead and did commercials, just because I thought they were kind of interesting in that particular context, as opposed to the Dragnet, which were kind of repetitive after a while. These did not have commercials because the originals did not include any commercials. This was sustained by ABC in the hopes of finding a sponsor. NBC would do the same with Dragnet. There were several shows that made it that began out as sustaining efforts. And it's not something obviously you see anymore, because even the lowest rated TV show is going to have some sponsors coming right in. But I like how they gave shows a chance to make it, a chance to prove themselves. And so that's the sustaining effort here. So, Podcast Alley, it's much appreciated. All right, we're going to get into tonight's episode of Let George Do It. Last week, you got to watch the pilot episode, and basically it seemed the show was at a crossroads. Either it could become a detective show, or it could become a sitcom. And you get the sense, listening to this episode, that their first choice, it reminds me of that scene in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where the guy grabs the wrong grail, and then he chose poorly. Well, we're going to watch that in a second. Now, one thing you may have noticed is I'm leaving the commercials in on this particular episode. We got a lot of complaints about commercials coming out on Dragnet. And I may decide to go ahead and take commercials out here, but we're starting with the commercials in. And when I reach the point of annoyance with the commercials, then I will snip. But I'm not there yet. So we'll go ahead and leave them in for now. But without any further ado, we're going to get into tonight's episode. This one is Cousin Jeff and the Pigs.
Your neighborhood Chevron gas station invites you to Let George Do It, brought to you by the makers of climate-tailored Chevron Supreme gasoline and RPM compounded motor oil. When George Valentine got out of the Army, he had an idea and just enough money to set up a small office and put an ad in the paper offering his services as a dog walker, a crime solver, a wife spanker, or whatever a client wants done. So far, he's met with fair success. He's had plenty of clients, but not all of them paid off. That hasn't discouraged George. He's an optimist. Right now, he's striding up to the side door of his office, the door that lets him into his private office without going through his waiting room.
Good morning, Sonny. Sonny? Claire? Hey, where is everybody?
Oh, good morning, Mr. Valentine. We were in the waiting room. We've been kind of busy. I've been taking him up and down the elevator. He never rode in one before. And now Claire's pointing out the tall buildings
Hey,
to him.
look, wait a minute, Sonny. Slow down, will you? What are you talking about?
Your new client.
Oh, have I got a new client?
Yes, sir, and this is his first visit to the city.
Oh, great. Where's he from?
3 Oaks.
3 Oaks. Say, that sounds familiar.
Oh, I bet you'll like him, Mr. Valentine. He's very nice.
3 Oaks. Oh, I know. My mother had some cousins living in 3 Oaks.
His name is Jeff Williams.
Jeff Williams. Cousin Jeff.
Hey, is he your cousin?
Yeah, that's right. Haven't seen him in 25 years. He's probably married and has a dozen kids.
Is he really your cousin, Mr. Valentine? Why, he isn't a bit like you. He's very nice.
Oh, thanks a lot, Sonny. All right, carry on with the office work. I'll see about Cousin Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Valentine.
Good morning, Claire. Well, Cousin Jeff.
Hello, Cousin George.
Say, it's been a long time, Jeff. How are you?
I never felt better in my life, George.
Your cousin was telling me that this is his first visit to the city, Mr.
Oh,
Valentine.
is that so? Sit down, Jeff.
Oh, after you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Williams.
You're welcome, ma'am. Well, I guess you're surprised to see me, George. I've been looking forward to this trip for a long time, but that farm sort of kept me tied down.
But, Jeff, how'd you know where to find me? Am I, famous, even in Three Oaks?
Oh, I saw your advertisement, George. I have the newspapers mailed to me. Rural Route 4.
Oh, I see. Well, what's on your mind, Jeff?
Well, it's like this. I had a little extra egg money put aside.
Egg money?
Mr. Williams has chickens. He sells the eggs.
Oh.
Oh, my chickens are sure good to me this year. I figure after I pay my hotel bill, I'll have about $100 for you, George.
Well, what do you mean? Why give me $100?
Well, like this, George, I like my farm, you know. I was born and raised there, but it's pretty lonesome, especially winters.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you, Jeff. You want me to find you a wife?
Oh, I figure I'm doing my own courting. Only trouble, I can't find a girl to court.
Really, Mr. Williams?
Well, you see, ma'am, most of the women in Three Oaks is already married, and those that aren't are spoken for.
Oh, I find the girl and you court her. Well, that's fair enough.
But I got to meet her by Wednesday night. Got to get back home. Have to start my corn husking.
Did you have any special type in mind?
Well, hope you'll forgive me, Miss Brooks, but I'd like a pretty girl like Miss Brooks.
Claire? Claire, what are you doing next Wednesday?
I quit.
Well, don't worry, Jeff. I'm sure I can help you.
Well, there's only one other thing, George. She's got to be a girl who'll love my little Dolores.
Dolores?
And all her brothers and sisters.
All her brothers and sisters? How many have you got?
57.
57 children?
No, 57 pigs.
Pigs?
Pigs.
He raises pigs, Mr. Valentine.
I hope you won't think I'm loony, but those pigs mean a lot to me. I'm fond of them, and they're fond of me.
Okay, Jeff. Just leave everything to me. I'll find a girl for you, all right? Someone who'll love Dolores and all her brothers and sisters. All 57 of them.
I don't want to bother you with questions, Mr. Valentine. But what are we doing here?
Working for our new client. I promised I'd find him a girl, didn't I?
Do you expect to find her in this alley?
Well, this alley leads to the stage door entrance.
Stage door? A showgirl?
Sure, why not? She's got to be pretty. And I'll bet these girls are sick of the bright lights. They'd probably give their eye teeth to settle down on a farm.
What are you going to do? Tap them on the shoulder and say, "Pardon me, but do you like pigs?"
No, of course not. I'm going to be subtle about this. I'll tell them I'm an inquiring reporter. You get it, Claire?
No, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, it's 5:40. The matinee's over a half hour ago.
Yeah, we just sat
Hey, here they come now. Say, there's a beauty.
Yeah, she'll do.
Oh, Miss. Oh, wait a minute, please.
If it's a date, my mother don't let me go out on no dates. Besides, I'm booked solid for 2 months.
Oh, no, I'm the inquiring reporter. I just want to ask you a question. Would you mind telling me, what's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal? Mink.
Mink.
Yeah, mink. My mother likes ermine.
Oh, I see. Well, thanks a lot.
Maybe you could get Mr. Williams to raise mink instead of pigs.
Now, I'll try a brunette this time. Oh, miss.
All right. Give me a pencil and I'll give you my autograph.
Oh, no, thanks. That's not it. You see, I'm the inquiring reporter, and I'd like to ask you a question if you have a minute.
Shoot.
What's your favorite animal?
Male.
Male?
Male.
Oh, I see. Well, thanks a lot.
Is that all?
Yes, miss, thanks. That's plenty.
If you'd like an interview for your paper and pictures, I'm at the Brayton Hotel.
I see. Well, I'll give you a buzz.
And if a man's voice answers, don't hang up. That's me. I'm at the Brayton Hotel.
All right. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Oh, Mr. Valentine, look at this. Coming towards us. The baby doll type.
Huh? Oh, miss.
You mean little old me?
Yeah, that's right. Little old you.
They call me Kathy Phillips. What do they call you?
Well, they call me the inquiring reporter, and I'd like to ask you a question, if you don't mind.
Oh, I think that's just darling of you. What do you want to know?
Well, I wish you'd tell me, what's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal?
That's right.
Promise not to laugh.
I promise.
Cross your heart, hope to die.
Hope to die.
Well, then, don't you dare tell a soul, but I'm just mad about
piggies.
Oh, well, that's a nice thing. Piggies. Claire, we found her.
I don't mean to rush you, Cousin George. That's not why I phoned. I'm just a little anxious, that's all.
Now, will you be patient, Jeff? I think I found the right girl for you. She's small, she's pretty, she's blonde.
But does she like pigs?
Does she like pigs? The girl's mad about pigs.
She sounds like the one I've been looking for, all right. When can I meet her, Cousin George?
Why, she's in my office right now. I'll arrange a date for you tonight. You can take her out to dinner.
Dinner? Say, maybe I better get my hair cut.
Yeah, you do that, Jeff, and I'll call you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Sonny.
Yes, sir?
Send Kathy Phillips in here, will you? I want to talk to her.
Okay, Mr. Valentine. Mr. Valentine wants to see you, miss.
You want to see little old me, Mr. Valentine?
Yeah, sit down, Kathy. I want to talk to you.
Did I win some sort of contest? Is that what this is all about?
Never mind. You'll find out soon enough. Kathy, do you like farms?
Oh, Mr. Valentine, I adore farms. Of course, I've never been on a farm, but then when you adore something, well, you just adore it, that's all.
Oh, I understand. Well, it doesn't matter. Just so you like pigs. Can you cook?
Cook? You mean mix up things in the kitchen?
Yeah, well, that's sort of the idea.
Oh, I don't think anyone can mix up things in the kitchen like I can.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, never mind. Just so you like pigs.
I brought my collection down for you to see, Mr. Valentine.
Collection? What collection?
It's in this box. Go ahead, open it.
Yeah, well, what is it?
Oh, they don't hurt you, silly. Go on, open it.
All right, I'll buy it. What in the name of heaven are these?
I told you, I just adore piggies.
Great Caesar's ghost. Piggy Banks.
Piggy banks.
Well, how was I to know? When she said piggies, I thought it was just her baby talk.
She's got over 100 piggy banks, Mr. Valentine. I counted them.
Never mind the piggy banks. We got to do something.
Good afternoon. Let George do it.
Hello, Miss Brooks. How are you?
Oh, fine, Jeff. Just a minute. It's your cousin.
Oh, I got to stall him. Hello, Jeff.
I phoned to ask you about my date tonight, Cousin George.
Oh, well, now look, Jeff, you'll have to be patient. She can't make it tonight.
Oh, shucks. I had my hair cut.
Well, Jeff, it'll keep. She'll have dinner with you tomorrow night. Now, this girl is worth waiting for.
I don't want to rush her, but I have to get back to start my corn husking.
Yeah, you'll make it. Now, don't worry. Goodbye, Jeff.
Yeah, goodbye.
Mr. Valentine, I don't like this. Jeff is too nice to try to put something over on him.
Now, Claire, what are you talking about? Kathy's a wonderful girl.
Yeah, but Mr. Valentine, she won't know any more about pigs tomorrow night than she does right now.
Oh, yes, she will. Because you two are to go down to the library and pick up all the books they have on pigs.
Then what'll we do with them?
You see to it that Kathy reads them.
What makes you think she can read?
Then you read them to her. Take her to your apartment. Spend all day and all night if you have to. But I want that girl to know everything there is to know about pigs. You understand? Now get going.
Chandler Bookshop.
Hello, this is Sonny Brooks. Is it too late to send out some books to us right away?
Why, no, I don't believe so.
We went through all they had in the library, but she still doesn't know anything about pigs.
Pigs?
Yeah, send us everything you've got. Send it to apartment 5306 Sharp Street.
What street? Spell that, please.
Sharp. S is in swine, H is in hogs, A is in animal, R is in ribs, and P is in pig's feet. Where's that waitress? Why doesn't she take our order? All that talk about pigs made me hungry.
Oh, never mind, Sonny. She'll get around to us soon. Now, come on, Kathy. Name the different kinds of pigs.
Oh, Claire, I'm such a tired little old thing.
Now, Kathy, Mr. Valentine has big plans for you. But you've got to know your pigs.
Well, let me see. There's the Yorkshire pigs. They've got the darlingest little spots all over them.
Hey, that's not right, is it, Claire?
Kathy, Yorkshire are white. You mean the spotted Poland China. Its head is rugged, medium in length, and slightly dished in the profile.
Oh, Claire, you use such big words. I guess I'm just a little old dummy. I wasn't very smart in school. I never will forget the trouble I had in 5th grade.
You mean you got to the 5th grade?
Sonny. If you could only talk to someone who really knows pigs.
Well, what'll it be, folks? Can I take your order?
You order for us, Sonny.
Well, we might as well stay in the spirit. We better have the best pork chops from great big pigs.
Oh, the best pork chops come from the medium types.
Like the Berkshire and the Hampshire.
Hey, Claire, listen to our waitress.
Oh, I was raised on a farm. Well, what'll it be, folks? Never mind the food. Just tell this girl everything you know about pigs.
Yeah, and please, use words of only one syllable.
Come on, open up. Say, where is everybody?
Oh, it's you.
Oh, good morning, Claire.
Come in.
Did I wake you?
Wake me. I haven't been to bed yet.
Well, you can sleep tonight. Say, how's our pupil getting along?
I don't know about Kathy, but whenever I close my eyes, I see pigs. Yorkshire, Berkshire, Hampshire, Durham.
Hey, you know your pigs all right.
Hello, Mr. Valentine.
Oh, good morning, Sonny. Where's Kathy?
She's still learning her lines.
Her lines? What are you talking about?
Well, we finally hit on a system that works with her. We pretend she's playing a part in a show.
Yeah, we write the lines and she learns them. I'll show you. Kathy? Oh, Kathy.
I'm coming. Oh, Mr. Valentine, it's you.
Yep, little old me.
Go ahead, Kathy. Recite for him.
All right. The Poland china has a head that is rugged in appearance, medium in length, and slightly dished in the profile.
Well, that's wonderful, marvelous, tremendous. Jeff will be the happiest man in Three Oaks.
Jeff? Who's Jeff?
Oh, sit down, Kathy. The time has come for us to have a little talk.
Oh, I just adore that, Mr. Valentine.
Kathy, how would you like to settle down on a little farm?
A farm?
With 57 pigs.
I think that'd be just darling. Could I name them?
Oh, sure, of course. Now, look, Kathy, I'm not promising you anything, understand? But you'll have dinner with him tonight.
Dinner? Oh, I am fond of eating.
Yeah, I'll bet. Now, you meet him, he meets you. The rest is up to you, too.
Oh, what do you mean, Mr. Valentine?
Well, I mean, if he likes you and you like him, then you make your own plans. I'm just sort of bringing you together, that's all. Arranging a date for tonight.
About that date, Mr. Valentine, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep it.
You won't? Why not?
I hate to disappoint you, Mr. Valentine.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, I'm afraid he might not like it.
Who might not like it?
My husband.
Your husband?
You've got a husband?
Well, of course. Didn't I tell you? He's just the sweetest little old thing. He collects piggy banks, too.
George certainly finds himself in an embarrassing situation now. While he's figuring out an answer, I'd like to have a little talk with you. You know, most folks are alike. We all enjoy doing business with the neighborhood grocer, the druggist, or the hardware man who gives us a friendly smile when we come in. Kind of a chap who asks about the kids when he wraps up our package. That's one reason why many folks like to trade at home-owned Chevron gas stations. They're run by local men who've made good, friendly, capable fellows who know most everyone in town and know their cars equally well. They're all mighty nice people to do business with. That's why you always feel at home when you stop at a Chevron gas station. There's another thing you can count on finding at Chevron gas stations. They all carry that climate-tailored Chevron Supreme gasoline and RPM compounded motor oil. All of them honor your Chevron credit card, too. So whenever you're on a trip, make it a habit to stop at Chevron gas stations. Well, George found a girl for his client, all right. Kathy was small, pretty, and blonde, and she learned all about pigs. There was only one catch. Kathy was already married. Now George, Claire, and Sonny are still in Claire's apartment.
Why didn't you ask her if she was married?
Well, I didn't think about it.
The most important thing of all, and you didn't think about
Well, it just didn't occur to me. I did mention settling down on a farm.
But you didn't mention the farmer.
Oh, I forgot. It slipped my mind.
Oh, fine. Wonderful. And after all we went through teaching her about pigs.
Yeah. Well, I can't even bear to look at bacon. And when I sleep, I don't snore anymore. I just go oink, oink,
Oh,
oink.
Sonny, will you get out of here?
Okay, I'll know what I got for.
Now, Claire, what are we going to do? Jeff is supposed to phone me here, and I'm supposed to have the date all set. What'll I tell him now?
That's your problem, Mr. Valentine. I wash my hands of the whole thing.
Oh, now, Claire, don't say that. Jeff's been looking forward to this trip for years. If I can't get him a bride, well, at least I can get him a dinner date.
Besides, there's $100.
Claire, you don't think I'd accept money from my own cousin? You make me sound like a heel.
Well?
That must be Jeff. You talk to him.
Oh, no. Talk to him yourself. Take your medicine like a man.
Oh, fine secretary I've got. Hello?
Hello, this is Jeff.
Oh, hello, Jeff.
I got another haircut, Cousin George.
Another haircut. That's great.
Now, what about my date for tonight? You know, I've got to get back to the farm tomorrow.
Well, you see, it's like this, Jeff. You see, this girl knows her pigs all right.
Fine, that'll give us something to talk about.
You know, she knows all about pigs. And you see, well, this girl is very pretty.
I'm anxious to meet her.
And you see, this girl is...
Married.
Will you stop it?
Stop what?
No, not you. You see, Jeff, it's like this. Oh, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
Why can't you have dinner with him?
Me? Oh, no, you don't.
What'd you say, Cousin George?
Well, you're beautiful.
I am.
And you know about pigs.
Well, I ought to. I was raised with them.
Well, how about it?
You'd hand me over for a measly $100.
Oh, now, don't get dramatic. It's just a dinner date.
Well, it's more than just a dinner date.
It's more than just a dinner date, and you know it.
Now, look, it's his first trip to the city, and he's my cousin. How can I let him down?
Let who down?
You know he likes you. Remember, he said he wanted to meet a girl just like you.
Like who?
You'd sell your own grandmother for $100.
Whose grandmother?
Oh, Grandma's fine, thank you, George.
Oh, now, listen, Claire. All you have to do is have dinner with him. Is that too much to ask of you?
All right, I'll do it.
You will have dinner with him?
With who?
I'll have a lot of dinners with him. I always wanted to live on a farm.
Claire.
Tell your cousin to get a haircut and meet me at Pierre's.
It sure is nice of you to have dinner with me, Claire.
It's nice of you to think it's nice of me.
I won't try to figure that out.
No. I like it.
You like what?
Your haircut.
Yeah, I had it cut twice. Say, maybe we ought to eat something.
Yes, sounds like a good idea.
Now, let's see what's on this bill of fare. Oh,
What's the matter?
they don't spell very good.
Huh? Oh, it's in French.
You know, that's one thing I didn't learn on the farm.
Never mind, Jeff. I don't like this place anyway. It's much too expensive.
Oh, that's all right. You're forgetting about my egg money.
Now, look. Those chickens didn't go to all that trouble just so you could throw your money away on me. Come on.
Oh, where'll we go?
There's a restaurant in my neighborhood that has good food, and it's cheap, too.
See, you're saving my money for me already. How'll I ever be able to thank Cousin George?
You won't have to thank him. Just give him the $100. That's all he's interested in. Come on, Jeff. Let's go someplace where they know how to spell.
Sonny. Sonny, wake up. Sonny.
Yorkshire, Berkshire, Hampshire,
Sonny.
Florentine,
Sonny.
and Duroc. Oh,
Claire isn't home yet. I've been sitting here waiting for her to come back.
what time is it?
3 o'clock.
It is? Then why'd you wake me? Let me go back to counting pigs.
Oh. Sonny, why would a dinner date take so long?
Maybe he's a slow eater.
Sonny, you don't seem to realize how serious this is. She's been gone for 8 hours. I've been sitting here watching the clock.
Why don't you read something?
I don't feel like reading.
We got quite a choice of books. There's breeding pigs and pig breeding and pigs and their breeds.
Hey, do you suppose she's purposely staying out late just to worry me?
Well, if she is, she has.
Sonny, Jeff liked her. He liked her a lot. Sonny, did she like him?
Well, my sister goes for the shy type.
Oh. Would you call me shy?
Well,
don't answer that. You know, Sonny, I like her.
So do I.
Sonny, I think I love her.
I think I do, too.
And I threw her at him. I forced her to go out with him. I'm a fool. I'm a sap. I'm a
fathead.
A fathead. Thanks a lot, Sonny.
You're welcome, Mr. Valentine. That's the telephone.
I'll get it. Hello?
Hello?
Claire, where are you?
What are you doing at my place, Mr. Valentine?
Well, I was waiting for you to get back.
Oh, you don't mean you were worried.
Worried? Why should I worry? Claire, where are you? It's 3 o'clock.
I thought you weren't worried.
Well, it's just that... Well, I don't want you showing up late for work tomorrow.
I won't be at work tomorrow, George.
Claire, you call me George.
Well, I'm in a sentimental mood.
Hey, Claire, will you please tell me, where are you calling from?
From Dr. Hutchison's house.
Dr. Hutchison, are you hurt?
He's a minister.
A minister? Claire!
Cousin Jeff said to send you his love. Goodbye, George.
Eloped? Are you sure, Mr. Valentine?
Sonny, will you get dressed and shut up?
Yeah, but where are we going?
We're going to annul the marriage.
Mr. Valentine.
You don't want Jeff for a brother-in-law, do you? And all I get along without her. What'll happen to me?
What'll happen to me? I don't want to go to Three Oaks and live with pigs.
No. Here's his address. Dr. Hutchison, 310 G Street. Come on.
Yeah, but what'll we do there?
He can tell us where they went. He can tell how to find her. I'm not giving her up, Sonny. Not without a fight. This is the place. Come on.
Don't you think it's a little late to be busting in on people?
No, we can't help that. I'll do the talking.
Don't you think it's a little late to be ringing doorbells?
Well, we've got to find her before he takes her to Three Oaks.
Can I help you?
I want to speak to Dr. Hutchinson right away. It's very important.
Are you sure? I hate to disturb him. He had to get up a little while ago. We had a wedding party here.
A wedding party? Sonny, a wedding party.
I heard her.
Such a lovely young couple. And so much in love.
Maybe it was some other couple, Mr. Valentine.
Yeah, maybe. Was the groom tall and outdoorish looking?
Oh, he was a very wholesome young man. He told me all about his pigs.
Oh, pigs. It's the right people, all right.
I never saw a happier bride in all my life. And I've seen a lot of brides.
Are you sure she was happy?
She was all smiles.
She was all smiles, Mr. Valentine.
Well, maybe it was just an act.
Oh, no. At the end of the ceremony, when they kissed, well, I never saw such a kiss in all my life. And I've seen a lot of kisses.
Oh.
Now then, what did you want to see my husband about?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. Come on, Sonny.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mr. Valentine? Mr. Valentine, what time is it?
4 o'clock.
Don't you think it's a little late for us to be out taking a walk?
What else could we do?
Sleep?
I couldn't sleep.
Oh, I guess I couldn't either.
Look, there's just the two of us left now, Sonny. We'll have to stick together.
Then you're not going to try to stop her?
Stop her? How can I stop her? We've got to think about her, Sonny. If she's happy, then, well, we'll just give her up.
But, Mr. Valentine...
We've got to be men.
Well, I'll try.
Come on, let's go in this restaurant and have some breakfast.
We haven't had dinner yet.
All right, then we'll have dinner. Not that I can eat. I don't think I'll ever be able to eat again.
Is this table all right?
Oh, what does it matter? I can't eat anyway.
Well, then why'd we come in here?
Well, I just want to sit and look at the food and feel miserable.
What'll it be, gentlemen? Scrambled eggs and a nice side order of ham.
Ham? Don't even mention... Claire!
Claire, what are you doing here?
Working.
Working?
Excuse me, they want me in that booth. It's a wedding breakfast.
Hey, well, I don't get this. Why should
Mr. Valentine, look. In that booth. It's Jeff.
Jeff? Oh, of course. It's their wedding breakfast.
Then why is she working here as a waitress?
Oh, well, maybe they haven't got enough money to get back to Three Oaks.
Hey, he's coming to our table. You won't start a fight, will you, Mr. Valentine?
Fight? I haven't got any fight left in me.
Well, I'm sure glad to see you, Cousin George.
I told Jeff you were here.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Cousin Jeff.
Thanks a lot.
I hope you'll be very happy. And that comes from the heart, Claire.
What heart?
Well, I guess the best man won. Be good to her, Jeff.
You bet I will. Oh, Cousin George, about the $100.
Ah, forget it.
Why, Mr. Valentine.
Oh, no, I don't want to forget it. After all, you kept your part of the bargain. You got me a date, and now look what happened. And about the $100, Cousin George.
Buy yourself a wedding present, Jeff. A pig or something.
A pig? Well, thanks a lot. Now I better get back to Margie.
Yeah, you go right ahead and get... Margie? Who's Margie?
Well, I thought you knew. Margie's my bride.
Your bride? What about Claire?
Claire's our bridesmaid.
Claire? You mean...
You remember Margie, don't you, Sonny? She waited on us when we were here yesterday.
Hey, she's the girl who knows all about pigs.
She sure does. You know, Margie was born just 10 miles from my place, but can you beat it? We never met until Claire brought me here tonight.
I knew it'd be love at first sight.
Oh, well, Claire, look, I got to talk to you. Sit down.
I can't, Mr. Valentine. I'm working for Margie for the rest of the day. I don't get off duty till 6.
Then I'll stay right here and wait for you.
Well, I'll say goodbye. Our train leaves in a little while. I want you to know, Cousin George, that I'm the happiest man in the world.
Oh, no, you're not. I am.
Me too.
Now, Jeff, you remember to look us up when you come back to the city.
Oh, we won't be coming back. Margie and I decided that we'd stay in Three Oaks for the rest of our lives.
Why, Jeff?
Just settle down on a little farm and raise pigs.
We'll hear George's voice again in just a moment. In most parts of the West, motorists are facing the time of year that's hardest on cars. Cooler weather and rain or snow always bring with them some annoying car troubles. Most of these can pretty well be avoided, however, by a checkup trip to your neighborhood Chevron dealer. He'll put the right grade of RPM compounded motor oil in your car's crankcase, see that its transmission and differential have the right kind of grease for the season, and he'll check your battery and accessories like windshield wiper blades, spark plugs, and lights. You can depend on getting a good job of winter checking at a Chevron gas station. Chevron dealers, you know, are in business for themselves. They've had plenty of car service experience before branching out on their own. So you can count on a competent, conscientious job. See about that winter checkup this weekend. Talk it over with your neighborhood Chevron gas station man. Well, next week, a celebrity brings his problem to George, and you'll probably hear something like this.
Well, sure, of course I know you. Jimmy Jones, the greatest cowboy star in pictures.
That's right. I work in horse operas. Mr. Valentine, you've got to help me.
Sure, what's on your mind, Jimmy? What can I do for you?
Look, now you mustn't breathe a word of this. It'd ruin my career.
You can trust me, Jimmy. What's the matter?
Mr. Valentine, I'm afraid of horses.
Chevron gas stations all through the West invite you to be with us again next week. Another chapter of Let George Do It, brought to you by the makers of Chevron Supreme Gasoline and RPM Compounded Motor Oil. Let George Do It, starring Robert Bailey as George, with Francis Robinson as Claire and Eddie Firestone Jr. as Sonny, is written by Pauline Hopkins, produced and directed by Owen Vinson. Others in the cast were Frank Martin as Jeff, Jane Webb as Kathy, Rena Craig as Margie, and June Foray as Mrs. Hutchinson. The music was composed and conducted by Charles Dent. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. You know, I did laugh at a couple points in there. But that was a long show for, I think, about 3 light laughs. As a sitcom, it really didn't work. But this is part of what makes what I like about old-time radio. A lot of times, TV shows today have to be close to perfect from the get-go. It's a high-demand situation. And if this were a TV show today, this would be gone after 4 or 5 episodes because it doesn't work as a sitcom. But instead, producers, you like the star, you like the writers, so you work on it. And that's incredible. You get to hear this show get better. Now, the good thing about this, and what I think is really nice here, is that, if we had to listen to all of the really bad episodes, I'd probably just show you this one and fast forward ahead, because I don't know if I could sit through like 44 episodes. But this is where lack of radio preservation comes in handy. You see, for a show to get preserved, you have to have people like it. Of the first 44 episodes of Let George Do It that hit the air, a total of 3 are in circulation as far as I can figure out. Hallelujah! I'm not usually that happy about shows not being in circulation, but I'll make an exception. So, suffering cut short. Don't worry, stick with us here. Now, of course, the one thing that you noticed, that I noticed it on the first show when I was recording, but I think I was too tired to remember to bring it up. And that is the services that George offered in his initial ad. Because he offered crime solving, he offered dog walking, and another service he offered was wife spanking. Now, this, particularly if you're younger, you're going, what? What is he talking about? This was a comedic device back in those days. It was, particularly because this is a sitcom at this point. It was a comedic device. Lucille Ball used it several times on I Love Lucy. Also on her radio show, My Favorite Husband, was used as a comedic device. It's one of those things that's become, as we've gained awareness of some other issues, it's become socially unacceptable to do. But the show does get better, and I think it gets better after you change the ad. Because if you put wife spanking in the ad, people are not going to take you serious as a private detective. Ditto dog walker. Hey, I can find your long-lost niece, and then I can walk your dog, and then I'll go and spank your wife. No. You got to have some focus and some specialization there. So it gets better. It gets better. Trust me on this one, folks. Stay with us on Get George Do It. Once again with Sherlock Holmes, the episode that we played this week had been mislabeled and was actually under copyright, so we won't be playing that. And that's the last week we had that issue. Listen now to yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you another exciting episode of The Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, featuring that detective with the action-packed expense account, Johnny Dollar. And we have a new Johnny Dollar this week, and we will get into talking about him in just a moment. We do have some comments we want to go ahead and share with you from the blog. I actually post some over at greatdetectives.net. Unlike for many years the Dragnet site, where basically I very rarely posted anything other than just show notes for Dragnet, I do post some articles over at the Great Detective site about old time radio, even about some of the shows we're thinking about doing or decide not to do. Just different things we observed. And I wrote about Father Brown, who's actually next year going to be the centennial of the first Father Brown story. And Juliana left a comment. Wow, this looks great. I love the Father Brown stories. I've read them many, many times. They never get old. Thanks for all the great shows you are broadcasting. Well, thanks very much. And I think if everything goes according to plan, with the series that we have, and when those series end, we should be able to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Father Brown's first short story being published by bringing 2 episodes of the 1940s Father Brown series. So that's very nice. Jessica writes, I've been a fan of Let George Do It ever since I heard it for the first time several years ago. I enjoy your Dragnet show, and I'm looking forward to your new show and your take on Let George Do It. Thanks for adding this to your lineup. Well, thanks, Jessica. And I know if you listened to Let George Do It this week, it was kind of a little bit of a rougher show. But I'd encourage everybody, stick with it. It's absolutely a great series, particularly for those of you who are fans of Bob Bailey and yours truly, Johnny Dollar. You will enjoy this as they get some really great mysteries in there. Sean says the show was off to a great start with Box 13. And Michael writes, another great show. Thank you, Adam. I will be looking forward now to Thursdays as well as Saturdays. And that's much appreciated. I've actually, because I'm working ahead on these shows, I actually have just finished recording week 8 Sherlock Holmes, and we're going to go into such really good stuff as we work through the Holmes stories in the 30s. You'll definitely want to pay attention to that. We also have got our first comment on a Podcast Alley. Now, I went ahead and I created a special redirect off of our site to get over to Podcast Alley, because putting even the show name in, you're not going to find it. So if you go, put in your address bar, podcastalley.greatdetectives.net, you can go and cast a vote for us. Our first vote actually came from Monique, who writes, Adam, I was so glad to find your Dragnet podcast on iTunes. I really like listening to it and your commentary before and after. I was happy to learn you were starting this new one so I could listen from the very first podcast. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Monique, and thank you for being our first commenter on Podcast Alley. Please cast your votes, and again, on Podcast Alley, you don't necessarily have to leave a comment. In fact, a lot of people just cast a vote, and that is much appreciated as well, because it helps to promote the new program. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get into talking about our new Johnny Dollar, Charles Russell. And we're going to go ahead and list everything we know about him. Nothing. All right, let's talk about today's show. No, it's not. It's not quite nothing that we know about Charles Russell. He was basically he made a number of films. He did have one starring role. That was in Inner Sanctum, which was based on a mystery anthology old-time radio show. Which, because of that, it was kind of like making a movie based on the Twilight Zone. And other than that, we don't know a whole lot about him before and after yours truly, Johnny Dollar. What we know is that he left in February of 1950, was replaced by Edmund O'Brien. Shortly thereafter, his marriage of about 3 years ended in divorce, and then 35 years later, he died in 1985. And we know nothing about what happened in between. He didn't make any films after 1950, just simply gone from the scene. And the only thing I've been able to find out about him in terms of his career was that he played in Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. And when I read that, I'm kind of like, yeah, I kind of figured that. In evaluating him, I think some people are kind of are a little more critical than I am. I actually found his performance to be enjoyable, if not quite what the network was going for. It was a lighter performance, certainly, than Edmund O'Brien, who would come afterwards. And they were going really for a kind of takeoff on Philip Marlowe here. But still, this era, I've listened to several episodes of the Charles Russell series, and I've never failed to be entertained. So these are solid. They're not as great as the ones to come, but they're a solid, serviceable Johnny Dollar. O'Brien's performance, in one way, the way he reads it reads the expense account. It's kind of got this really great official sounding voice. In some ways, his voice reminds me of a slightly more serious version of Don Adams from the Get Smart series. But still, this is some fun radio. Not quite as deep as we'll get with some of the future Johnny Dollars. In fact, one of the OTR documents in the OTR anthology referenced the Nostalgia Place poll, and they asked people who their favorite Johnny Dollar was, and they couldn't find anyone who would vote for Charles Russell. Well, he wouldn't win a vote from me in that regards. But still, we're still gonna enjoy the shows and these Charles Russell episodes here on The Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. So let's go ahead and get into the first of these episodes. We've got the Parakoff Policy.
System presents yours truly, Johnny Dollar. The next half hour has its baggage packed to take a half-hour trip with America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar. At insurance investigation, he is just an expert. At making out his expense account, he is an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, East Coast Underwriters, Terminal Building, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of my expenditures in the investigation of the Parakoff policy for your company. Expense account, item 1, plane fare to Benton, Ohio, $40.04. Expense account, item 2, plane fare, Benton back to Hartford, $40.04. Explanation, purchase 2 one-way tickets instead of saving money by purchasing one round trip. Because of the type of case I'm usually assigned, I never press my luck by buying round trips. This time I was almost right. Expense account, item 3. Cab fare, airport to Valley Hotel, $2.20. Tip the driver.
Gee, $1.
Well, naturally.
There'll be steak on the table tonight. Welcome to Warfare City.
Hey, doorman.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir?
Bring my bag inside, will you? Oh, here.
$1.
Always.
Well, all you have to have is $1. But you have to have a lunch.
Right here, boy.
Good evening, sir. Hello. Do you have a reservation for Johnny Dollar?
Oh, yes. Mr. Dollar's in his room. He checked in about 8 o'clock.
What? I guess I ain't the man I used to be. What room is he in?
Oh, sorry, sir. I'm not permitted to tell you that. I can call.
Oh, no, never mind. Let me have an envelope, will you? I'd like to leave my card for this Mr. Dollar.
Yes. Here you are.
Thanks. Here, just pop this in his box. The clerk popped the envelope into box number 207, so I popped myself into an elevator going up to room 207. I'd come to Benton to investigate a murder, and in just a matter of minutes, I found myself ready to commit one.
Hey, yes? Who is it?
A bellboy, sir. A package from Hartford.
Just a minute. What kind of a
Special delivery! Come on, get up on your feet.
Oh, it's safer down here. Now, take it easy. You must be Johnny Dollar.
Sometimes strangers in a hotel room can be a lot of fun, but not when they're men and not when they're using my name. What's your angle?
Now, listen, Dollar, I can explain everything.
It better be good and it better be fast.
I didn't want to be seen waiting for you in the lobby, and it's important that I talk with you before anybody else does. That's why I'm here. I'm Eric Barker.
Oh, the defense attorney in this Parakoff thing, huh? Well, I hope you're better at defending your client than you are at defending yourself.
Well, whether my client goes to the chair or not, unfortunately, has nothing to do with my being a good lawyer. That's why I wanted to talk to you.
Oh, I suppose this is one time when the attorney won't mind relinquishing the floor. Why don't you get up on your feet?
Oh, thanks. Thanks, I will. I'm no coward, Dollar, but if either one of us is going to get any place on this case, we'll have to work together. I need your help, and I need it badly.
Sorry, I do a single act.
Oh, now, don't be hasty. I can help you, too. Just how much do you know about the Parakoff murder?
Well, I know it's one of the screwiest cases I've ever run into. Beneficiaries are knocking off insured people all over the country, but not here in Benton. Oh, no. Here, they tell me, the insured man knocked off the beneficiary. And now I've got the jolly assignment of trying to keep the state from executing the insured man. My employer, East Coast Underwriters, isn't anxious to see $100,000 of their money burn up in the electric chair.
Well, at least we're both stuck with the same tough job.
Look, I'll tell you the few things that I already know, and you fill it in from there.
All right.
All I want to know is that Parakoff was shot to death, and that his business partner, your client Harlan Wolf, was picked up making a quick trip out of town and was being held for the murder. What have they got on him?
Only what they found on him, and it's enough. The murder weapon.
Any witnesses?
One. Parakoff's widow, Marcia. An eyewitness.
The murder weapon and an eyewitness. It seems, at least at first glance anyway, that the state of Ohio will be receiving a large electric bill one day soon. Any chance of my seeing Wolf?
No, not before he's indicted.
Oh, great.
Dollar, Harlan Wolf shot Parakoff in self-defense. There was no premeditation. I'm convinced that I could get him off with a second-degree manslaughter verdict. That is, I could if it weren't for the tactics of the prosecution.
Oh, what's that?
Well, they not only have intimidated my character witnesses, but they also have suborned their own to perjury. That's the sort of thing I'm up against.
Well, as the insurance companies keep saying, never say die. Where can I find the widow Parakoff?
They aren't holding her in protective custody so nobody can question her. She may be at home. That's 1375 96th Street.
That's a lot of figures. By the way, how's hers? Expense account, item 4. Cab fare to home of murdered man and the girl he left behind him, $2.40. I shivered all the way out to the suburbs, but not from fear or anticipation. Just a simple case of summer shorts in red flannel weather. The Parakoff place was obviously the product of a good income and a bad architect. It looked like a great big wedding cake, and Mother Nature had mercifully iced the confection. The front walk was white and untrammeled as the driven snow. As a matter of fact, that's what it was. 3 inches of it, which meant that Marcia hadn't had a visitor in the past couple of hours. I was playing detective, and somebody inside was playing the radio. So I played Peeping Tom, and loved every second of it. I couldn't see her face, but she had a lovely profile. I hastened to the door. Ouch! Her hair was red and her eyes were green. Her hair stopped you cold and then her eyes gave you the go signal.
Yes?
Would you mind saving that yes for later?
I beg your pardon?
I've come to ask your help and I hope you'll say yes. You see, my name is Johnny Dollar and I've been sent to Benton to investigate the death of your husband.
Say, what is this? Has it turned into a federal case?
Oh, I'm from the insurance company.
Oh, come in.
Thanks. Where can I put my coat? This snow is melting all over your carpet.
Let it melt. Just throw your coat any place.
Okay.
Good shot. Come on in by the fireplace. It's nice and warm.
Oh, I should have brought some chestnuts. I could have followed her with my eyes closed. She headed for the living room, leaving a pathway of perfumed air behind her, and I didn't waste a breath of it. That's nice perfume.
Sit down.
Thanks. If you can stand a compliment before we get down to business, you certainly do furnish a room.
Oh, you like it? Most of the things are just reproductions.
Not the things I'm talking about.
Oh, you mean me?
This is a happy surprise. I expected to find someone fatter and 40er.
My husband was. Now, what about his insurance?
Oh, you've got me wrong. I'm working for the company that insured the man being held for the murder of your husband, Harlan Wolf.
What do you want from me?
Just the story of what happened.
Oh, well, that I can't do. The district attorney had a long talk with me about it. I'm not supposed to say anything to anybody about it until the trial.
Well, I'm not asking you for any state secrets. I just want you to save me a trip down to the morgue.
Oh, don't be so brutal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were still in mourning. That negligee confused me. Anyway, I meant the newspaper morgue. That's what they call their files. You gave them a story. Why won't you give it to me?
I told you I can't.
Okay, sorry I wasted your time.
Oh, wait a minute. You aren't leaving.
Well, you aren't cooperating.
Oh, sit down. I'm going crazy in this house, alone all the time. Can't we find something else to talk about?
Sure, later. But first things first.
Well, all right. Well, I don't see how it could be wrong to tell you what's already been in the newspapers.
Oh, go on.
Well, all right. Harlan Wolf and I were here, in this room, alone. We were discussing business.
Business?
Business. The Highland Coal Corporation. My husband was its president. Harlan is the secretary-treasurer, and I'm the vice president.
I can't resist this, but, you know, your kind of businesswoman makes this anthracite heart of mine feel very bituminous.
What? Well, I don't get it.
Let it go. So you and Wolf were sitting here talking about your coal business.
Yes. And then my husband came home.
And no doubt accused you and the secretary-treasurer of putting in too much overtime. Is that it?
Oh, yes. Oh, it was terrible. They fought, and finally Harlan ran over to the couch over there and pulled his gun out of his overcoat pocket and started pulling a trigger.
Who called the police? The neighbors?
No, I did. Well, that's all there is to it.
Well, that's all I wanted to know. It didn't hurt, did it?
No. Now, how about using those big shoulders of yours to throw a log on the fire?
Well, sure. I'll go outside and get one.
Oh, there are logs in here.
I'd rather have one that's a little damp. They burn slower.
Oh. Well, then while you're at it, get a big one.
I left Marcia gazing into the fire, called a cab, and stepped out into the cold night air to wait for it. I went down the front walk with my mind on what lay behind me instead of what was ahead.
Hey, Dollar.
Out of the white snow loomed two very large blue police uniforms, completely filled.
Get out of this Parakoff mess, Dollar. Matter of fact, get out of this town.
Why, officer? I'm just beginning to like it here.
This is from the top that makes it official. We got the guilty man. We don't want any trouble.
Well, you go back to the top and tell them that this is one sure way of getting trouble.
They told us how to answer that one, too.
I did my best to break every one of the Marquis of Queensberry rules. I knew I was fighting a losing fight, but I was fighting for a little time, and that's all I got. Their fists never stopped, and my head began to feel like a ping pong ball in a four-handed game. Suddenly, things looked up. Me, flat on my back in the snow, seeing stars. And then a boot came flying toward my head and switched off all the little pretty lights.
All America is taken to Sing It Again, CBS Saturday night show of fun, frolic, and the fabulous Phantom Fortune. By telephone, listeners all over the nation are asked for their answers to the rhythmic riddle songs. Popular songs with new lyrics hiding the name of a movie star, radio star, or man about town. A right answer to a riddle, and the listener gets a crack at Sing It Again's Phantom Voice Fortune of $24,500 in prizes. It's a sensational session of music, suspense, and prizes. Don't miss Sing It Again tonight over most of these same CBS network stations. Maybe you'll sing to the tune of 24-5. And now back to yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Expense account, item 5. Medical supplies, bonded, $7. And here's something I'll give you for free. A handy help for your regularly employed insurance investigators. When I find myself overwhelmed in a brawl with unknown assailants, cops included, I do my best to take away more than just bruises and contusions. During my career, I've picked more pockets than a rack boy in a pool room. And I added one more to the score during the brawl in front of the Parakoff house, just before I went bye-bye in the snow.
Hey, mister, wake up. Come on, wake up. You'll catch your death of cold.
Oh.
You call a cab?
Yeah, I think so.
Holy smokes, your face. Was you robbed?
What's the matter? Isn't it fair?
Huh? Oh, here, come on. I'll give you a hand.
Thanks.
Holy smoke. When I first seen you laying there, I thought you was a snowman tipped over. How do you feel? Cold?
Forevermore, I shall look kindly upon the haddock in the deep freeze.
Huh? Hey, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for a wallet.
You lose it?
First I found it, and then I lost it. Oh, here it is. Come on, let's get out of here.
Where to, Mr. Police Headquarters?
Oh, no. Over my dead body. Expense account item 6, breakfast and bed, $2.40. Expense account item 7, photographic work, $6 for taking pictures of contents of wallet I lifted from the police uniform the night before, which I sent to you, dear East Coast underwriters, for safekeeping. Expense account item 8, 70 cents cab fare to office of Edmund Byron, district attorney. Item 9, tip to driver, $1. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Dollar.
Good heavens, Dan. What happened to your face? Felonious assault?
Yeah, but I got a flash for you. Not by person or persons unknown.
Splendid. You wish to prefer charges?
Half right again, but not for felonious assault, and not against the guys who gave me that going over last night.
Now, what are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. They were two of your harness bulls. But I don't want to waste time listening to you deny it, so forget it.
I don't have the slightest idea what this is all about, Dollar.
I said forget it. I want to talk about something more important. You're holding Harlan Wolf for the Parakoff murder. Now, what I want to know is, when are you going to hand down your indictment and what it's going to be?
First thing in the morning, first-degree murder. Anything else that you want to know before I have you thrown out of here?
Yeah. How do I get mixed up in these rhubarbs? Expense account, item 10, 5 cents. Phone call to my partner in despair, attorney for the defense, Eric Barker, who agreed to lend me a set of police photographs of the scene of the crime. They arrived at my hotel room just as I was leaving it to eat. And when I looked at them, I lost my appetite. According to the X's marking the various spots, Parakoff and Wolf had been standing face to face in the middle of the room when Wolf decided to punch Parakoff's ticket with a few .38 caliber perforations. According to the photographs of the corpus delicti, all of the steel-jacketed forget-me-nots had gone banging straight into the right side of Parakoff's body. I set up an appointment to meet Barker at 3 that afternoon and decided to make the most of the time in between by seeing what kind of a trade I could make on that wallet I picked up during the winter sports of the night before. The name in it was Ben Arnold, and the address was disreputable.
I don't want any brushes.
Well, what a coincidence. I'm not selling any.
What do you want?
I'm looking for Ben Arnold.
Who isn't? He promised me he'd be home by now. By this time, I should know better.
Well, I'll wait.
Outside.
Inside.
Hey, wait a minute. Ben won't like this.
Well, that makes it even. I don't like Ben.
Look, I don't want any trouble.
Okay, don't make any trouble.
What do you want here anyway?
Well, let's just say I dropped in for an unfriendly visit.
If Ben finds you here, it'll get real unfriendly. Ain't that face of yours marked up enough?
Well, that mouse hanging under your eye isn't exactly a beauty mark. Ben really spreads his blessings, doesn't he? Hey. Ben had really spread one blessing right there close in front of me. It was a small room, about the size of a large closet, with the clothes sprawled high and low, making the whole place look like a collapsed clothesline. And there, hanging on the back of the door, was Ben Arnold's police uniform. My eyes popped out, pushed one of its shiny brass buttons, and rang the bell. There, like little love letters on the brass, stood the initials CPD. And CPD were never the initials of the Benton Police Department. Thanks for seeing me so quickly, Barker.
Oh, Dollar, you're up. Good Lord. What happened to your face?
A couple of police uniforms with overstuffed shoulders did this to me last night.
Well, there you are. I warned you that we're up against a bunch of ruthless people. Something should be done about it. Using the police force to beat up anybody who stands in their way.
No, Barker. They were wearing uniforms, but they weren't police.
I'm afraid I don't follow you.
Barker, can you give me one good reason for a Benton cop to be wearing an out-of-town uniform? And don't tell me they got mixed up at the cleaners.
Out-of-town uniform?
Yes, and here's another one. If the law enforcement setup here is so rotten, why would they go to all the trouble of dressing up an outsider to do their muscle work?
I don't know.
What I mean is, did they?
Why? Who else would do it? It certainly couldn't have been Marcia.
Why not? She isn't exactly hard up for a motive. If Wolf goes to the chair, she collects his insurance money. Not only is she the widow of the original beneficiary, she's also vice president of the coal company. Any way you look at it, she's a secondary beneficiary.
But why should Wolf admit to the shooting? He has nothing to gain and his life to lose.
Look, Marcia told me that the night of the murder, she and Wolf were alone in the house talking about the coal business. Then she didn't know what I meant when I used the words bituminous and anthracite. Whatever they had on the fire that night, it wasn't coal.
You're right about that. Marcia and Wolf were having, well, some kind of a romance.
Yeah, okay. So let's say Marcia shot her husband. Let's say Wolf is madly in love with her. Let's say she promises Wolf that she will testify he shot her husband in self-defense. Marcia gets away with murder. Wolf gets away with a light sentence or none at all. And then Wolf gets away with a girl. Now, that does make sense.
What makes you think this is even possible?
Barker, somebody had me beat up last night. I say the prosecution wouldn't have bothered sending fake cops. There's one thing I gotta check, and check fast.
What's that?
Those police photos you gave me show that Parakoff was shot by a left-handed shooter.
Well, that's one of the prosecution's strongest points. Wolf is left-handed.
That doesn't prove that Marcia isn't. Parker, I'm going to go out and see Mrs. Parakoff. And there's only really one thing I hope.
That she's left-handed?
That she's wearing that same negligee that she had on last night. Hello, Marcia. Can I come in?
Why, Johnny, what happened to your face?
I didn't get down to the beauty parlor today.
Oh, you look like you've been fighting.
Mm-hmm. Not too well, but wisely.
Well, come on in the other room. And, how about throwing another log on the fire?
You're a real little firebug, aren't you? You should have lived back in old Nero's time.
Whose time?
Nero's time. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll build the fire if you light it.
I'd love to. Oh, you're getting a dry one from inside. Last night you went all the way outside to get one that would burn for a long time.
Hey, you got some paper?
Yeah, here's some.
There we are. Okay, hot point. Here's my lighter. Touch it off.
Okay. Here, that'll do it. Come on, sit down.
There's one more thing I'd like you to do for me.
What is it?
Very simple. Pick up your phone and call the district attorney. Tell him you want to change your story on the murder of your husband.
What are you talking about?
If you don't, I will.
Well, what have I done?
Okay, if you want to play games, I'll read you the rules. You know, there's a big advantage to being on my side of investigation. See, fellows in my racket have the benefit of a lot of experience. But murderers, well, almost everyone is inexperienced at that business. One moment they aren't murderers, the next moment they are.
Oh, Johnny, please.
But now let's take a look at what's on my side. For instance, for one thing, from the empty shells thrown off by an automatic pistol, the experts can get a better picture of a murder scene than they can from the witnesses. Your husband was killed by a gun that was held approximately 18 inches away and directly in front of him, and the bullets entered the right half of his body. That means he was killed by a left-handed shooter.
Harlan Wolf is left-handed. You can ask him. He'll tell you.
I know that.
And I'm right-handed.
I just found that out, too.
And what more do you need?
Not much. Now, Marcia, let's see what you've got going for you. You've got a face and a body, and not too much of a brain. But, baby, that's not enough. It's not enough to offset the things that I know.
You don't know anything.
Oh, okay, so let's make this a guessing game. Let's guess after your husband was shot, you called Wolf. When he got here, you told him you'd given your husband a .38 caliber divorce, right? Then you charmed him into taking the rap for you, right?
No.
And then you told him you'd testify he shot your husband in self-defense, right? Then once you got him in jail, you told the district attorney that Wolf had committed premeditated murder, that he'd been after you to leave your husband and had threatened to shoot him if you didn't, right?
Stop it!
That's a good idea, Della. Stop it.
Eric, he knows. What are we going to do?
Keep quiet.
We'll have to get rid of him, Eric.
Just as soon as we get rid of something else.
All right, Dollar. I want Ben Arnold's wallet, and I want it right now.
You're welcome to it, Barker. But it might interest you to know that I had its picture taken this morning. Your phony policeman's wallet and everything in it. And copies of the photos are in the mail right now. The insurance company won't have any trouble connecting you with the comedy cops who beat me up last night.
You're bluffing.
But that's not all I've got on you, Barker. This morning when I was lying in bed, reading the bumps on my head, it suddenly dawned on me that you were the only one that knew where I was going last night. So you must have been the one who had me roughed up. It also does my heart good to see you standing there holding that gun in your left hand. You shot Parkoff, and then got out of here while Marcia called Wolf, told him she'd done it, and talked him into taking the rap.
Shoot him, Eric.
For a lawyer, Barker, how do you like my case? Good, isn't it?
What are you waiting for? Shoot him. Kill him, I tell you.
Shut up, Marcia.
All right, Dollar. Stand still.
If you won't, I will. Give me that gun.
Marcia, look out!
Marcia made a rush to grab the gun from Barker. She got between me and the gun, and I dove in behind her. Arms straight out, picked her up, and she... Marcia went smashing into Barker, and I went on a frantic treasure hunt through that flailing mass of snorting, angry bodies to find the hand that held the gun. Believe me, it was no place for a lady, but Marcia was no lady.
No!
I grabbed deep in between them and yanked Barker's gun hand up out of the go-round, and just to make sure the rest was strictly a fist fight, jammed my trigger finger in over his jumped over shots into the ceiling. The way the plaster was falling, it was like another fight in the snow. But this time, Johnny Dollar came up heads instead of tails.
Eric!
Come on, Barker. Up. Come on, get up. No. Down you go.
Eric!
All right, Marcia. Now be a nice little girl. Pick up the nice little telephone and call the nice little district attorney and invite him out to your nice little house. Expense account, item 11. $12.40. That was lunch for district attorney. During which we agreed that it was the first case we'd ever worked on where the defense was working harder for a conviction than the prosecution. Also, that it was the first case where everybody turned out to be guilty. Defense attorney Eric Barker of murder, his girlfriend Martha Parakoff of being an accessory before and after the fact, and Harlan Wolf of conspiracy to defraud. Oh, no wonder the nation's jails are getting overcrowded. Expense account, item 12. Hotel bill, $28. Expense account, item 13. Flowers for the cell of unlucky Marcia Parakoff, $5. Expense account, item 14. $700. Side trip to Miami, Florida. Purpose? To recover from catching 40 winks and miserable cold in Benton, Ohio snowbank. Expense account total, $1,230.20. Signed, yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Listen in again next week when CBS brings you Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, with Charles Russell as Johnny. Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar is written by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd and is produced and directed by Richard Sandville. Live life with Luigi, and you live a wonderful life of seeing yourself as others see you. Luigi Basco is the little Italian immigrant who loves America, even though he's highly puzzled by American ways, American language, Americans themselves. His friends try to explain, his neighbors try to help, but it's usually Luigi who has the last word, who knows what America really is. Luigi's life is paved with laughter, and yours will be too, for the half hour that Life with Luigi fills every Sunday night over most of these CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Again, as I said, this is a very fun episode. And one thing that I think is great about going through a series like this, even though the Bailey episodes really are, those are the ones that people think of when they make commercial sets. And I'm not aware, actually, of any of the other Johnny Dollar actors having their episodes included in any commercial sets. But that, to me, is kind of one of the appeals of this, because you're able to hear an episode that has never or hasn't been heard in years and years. So I found this particular one very interesting. There was kind of that nostalgic twist where he gave that $1 tip, and the driver was like, "We're having steak tonight." Wow, we see the effect of inflation. You give a driver a $1 tip today, and you might get a different reaction, depending, of course, on the length of the trip and the professionalism of the driver. But this was good stuff, and I think kind of a preview of what we've got to come. I think the Charles Russell episodes you'll find very fun, very well written, and just a great rediscovery here. All right, well, we have got some. I did get an email I found pretty interesting regarding future projects on the show. Jason, who's been a long-time listener to the Dragnet show, writes, I've been catching up on the shows again, so I hope it's not too late to make a couple suggestions for shows on your New Detectives podcast, maybe for future episodes. First suggestion is The Shadow. A bit different from the usual detective show, but it's still a classic, and as far as I know, in the public domain. The second is hold on, let me look up the pronunciation guide here. The second is Hercule Poirot, another great show. I have to look that up because when I see it, it looks to me like Hercule Poirot, but that's not how it's pronounced. But Hercule Poirot, that's definitely one we'll do, but it may not be the one that you're thinking about, or that others may think of when they think of Hercule Poirot on the radio. The first time I heard Poirot, it was on a podcast. It was actually the first detective podcast I listened to. And I said, boy, this doesn't sound like it was made in the 1950s and 40s. Well, it was kind of because it wasn't. It was actually a version from the BBC that was made in the 1980s, so not technically in the public domain. So that one we wouldn't be able to do. But there was a Hercule Poirot series from the 1940s. That one is in the public domain. And I listened to an episode. I leaned towards doing it. It's a limited run series, but it's something I think definitely we will get in there. And then there is a little bit of a special we will do with that as well. The other one he suggests is The Shadow. I've got to tell you, The Shadow is a very intriguing show to do. It's a big show in terms of its overall length. There are around 200 to 240 episodes in existence, which sounds huge. But when you think there were 600 done, that's a lot of lost episodes. But 200 to 240 episodes, it'll take us about 4 years to go, listen through. So I've got to listen to a few more episodes. But The Shadow is such an influential character and very popular. There was actually, I was looking at the show was ranked in the performing arts category, and there was a show ranked right up there with the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio in total downloads. It was the Shadow podcast from OTR. And that particular podcast was ranked very high. And I clicked on the link, and it had not even been updated since 2007. There are a lot of Shadow fans out there. And The Shadow, of course, was the basis of many detective stories. Not just, really, Batman. Radio Archives actually has, on their site, they have Shadow magazines for sale, replicas of those. And you look at those covers, and you just see how it's played into the culture. I even, after listening to that episode of The Shadow, I read it was the first one with Orson Welles. I actually read one of my own short stories for my Laser and Sword magazine. And I saw in there, I said, without even knowing it, The Shadow, there's homages to the Shadow character in this one character in my story. How did he do that? I've not even been a regular listener of The Shadow. How did he get into the story? The Shadow knows. Anyway, we will definitely give some due consideration to The Shadow. Thanks for the email and for listening. We really appreciate it. A couple comments over on iTunes. I love all of Adam's podcasts. I started out listening to his Dragnet show, then his Superman show, and I finally found this one. I like old radio detectives, and I was thrilled when I saw Adam was doing one about them. But the best part of this show is that it's updated not once a week, not twice a week, but 5 times a week. Anyway, good luck with the show, Adam, and keep up the good work. And thanks so much. And I love that last part. I ought to work that into an ad on the other shows. Oh, and Pat and Jean Roddy and we've been enjoying all the Old Time Dragnet podcast and are looking forward to following your newest podcast endeavor. Keep up the good work, and thanks for so many hours of quality listening. And thanks so much, Pat and Jean. All right, well, that will bring this episode to a close. I encourage you, got any comments, feel free to email me, box13@greatdetectives.net. Also, next week we will have a brand new theme. Well, not brand new. It's actually from a Pat Novak's episode over Armed Forces Radio Service. Let me know what you think about that as well. But from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Good night, everybody. Special thanks go out to Johnny Tusa for providing the opening theme music for this week's episode of The Great Detectives of Old Time Radio. If you'd like to hear more of Johnny's music, please visit music.greatdetectives.net. That's music.greatdetectives.net.